Bodega, 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 alpha and omega. Siamese sailors sell celery sandwiches. Sawing-a-bada, serving platter.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
Did you want to try reading that line on the script there?
Oh, yeah, let's see. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, that one?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just not warmed up yet. Shouldn't be long. Detector test.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive today.
The marmot mangled my mushy pork pancake.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Now let's take a look at your Thursday bowl betting from OffshoreInsiders.com, home of thoroughly vetted sportsbooks and handicappers who have been winning since before the internet, the old score phone days. All at OffshoreInsiders.com, led by Joe Duffy's picks. Entering the Wednesday night portfolio, 188 and 126, all for both sides for Thursday. You've got the top total at OffshoreInsiders.com. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at OffshoreInsider. Note there is no S at the end of the Twitter handle, but it's Offshore Insiders with an S.com. Now let's take a look at your betting previews. We'll start out with Virginia and Navy, the ACC. 30-13 against the spread as underdogs of 6.5 or less in the bowls. The AAC is 3-11 in games that are expected to be close, plus or minus 4.5 points of a pick'em. Both of those angles would benefit Virginia. Both teams enter on a 3-game straight-up losing streak and losing 5 of 6. Navy 6 losses by a combined 40 points, so they were pretty competitive this year, even in their losses. Should not be much of a motivation factor for each. This is Virginia's first postseason appearance since 2005. It is a home game for Navy, but not necessarily a monster advantage, as Virginia is only traveling 126 miles. Let's take a look at some ATS trends brought to you by mybookie.ag. Promo code for the maximum bonus they allow is Duffy, Duffy. All records are against the spread. Virginia's 7-15 after allowing less than 20 points in their previous game. They're 2-7 after allowing more than 200 yards rushing in their last game. 2-8 after accumulating less than 100 yards rushing in their previous contest. Navy 6-1 after allowing less than 275 yards in their previous game. 17-6 on field turf. 16-6 at home. 3-7 after allowing more than 200 yards rushing in their last contest. Some over-under trends. Virginia's going under 29-13 after allowing less than 170 yards passing in their previous game. Navy's going under 16-5 in the month of December, under 17-7 following a straight-up loss. Please, guys, one of your many ways to show support for the podcast and make sure you have a bookmaker who's going to pay you on time. There's no chance, zero chance of me recommending an online sports book unless I have personal experience, unless my clients, many of them, high rollers, heavy hitters who bet big and get paid big, if I don't get positive feedback from them. And of course, I always check with the very few respected, objective, and online monitoring sources, what I like to say, some of those that are the consumer reports of sports books. These sports books are all vetted, and mybookie.ag will give you the maximum sign-up bonus they allow if you enter the promo code Duffy. Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State. Virginia Tech is going under 8-3-1 by an average of 9.1 points per game. Again, that is relative to the point spread, or in this case, the total. And the ACC 30-17 is underdogs of 6.5 or less. That would benefit Tech. Tech enters having won 3 straight bowl games. Tech is an underdog despite giving up 13.5 less points per game. 13.5 points per game, I should say, to 30.1 for Oklahoma State. And substantially better defense based on points per game. As an underdog, as a substantial underdog, is actually 9-2. This doesn't happen all that often, where you get a fairly substantial underdog that's this big, a fairly substantial underdog that has this big an advantage on points per game on defense, and it usually does benefit the underdog. But Oklahoma State is among the strongest consensus bet of the entire bowls. Again, this consensus is based on offshore, Las Vegas, and we do have various outlaw contacts. Well, now let's take a look at Stanford and TCU. Stanford's traveling 1,468 miles. TCU playing in state 238 miles. Yeah, Texas is one of those you can stay in state and still travel quite a distance, but a big travel advantage for TCU. or what we like to call at offshoreinsiders.com, to be kind of a neutral field advantage. TCU allows just 2.91 rushing yards per attempt, and they'll go against Heisman finalist Bryce Love and his 1,973 rushing yards. This is arguably one of the great strength versus strength matchups of the entire bowl season. The TCU run defense against Stanford's excellent running game. And now let's take a look at some more trends for you. By the way, on the Virginia Tech Oklahoma State game, Hokies are 6-1 outside the conference. They're 23-11 on Thursdays, 3-7 after accumulating more than 200 yards rushing in their previous game. Oklahoma State 5-0 outside the conference, 0-4 after scoring more than 40 points in their previous contest. Stanford and TCU. Stanford 8-1 in the month of December, 13-3 following a straight-up loss. They're 6-2 in the bowls. TCU is 2-6 in the bowls, 3-9 after accumulating less than 100 yards rushing in their last game. TCU 3-13 against the spread on grass. And before we do get to your Washington State news and notes, why don't we give you those Washington State, Michigan State trends. Washington State 8-2 following a straight-up loss, 7-3 overall, 1-5 to the Big Ten. Again, all records are against the spread. Michigan State is 6-1 on neutral field, 34-16 after allowing less than 275 total yards in their previous game, 3-8 outside the conference, 1-6 to the Big 12. Washington State is going over 14-5 after allowing less than 275 total yards in their previous game. Now some news and notes from that game. When you have a lower-ranked team by at least 2 spots and their favorites of 2.5 or more on neutral fields are 3-6 against the spread, and that would say to go with Michigan State. Michigan State is the luckiest team in the nation according to team rankings with 5 wins by 8 or less. Washington State is traveling 968 miles, Michigan State 1,900. However, Washington State is without their 2 top receivers. Leading receiver Tavares Martin Jr. was kicked off the team. He had 7 catches for 9 touchdowns. Isaiah Johnson-Mack, second on the team with 555 yards, third in receptions, has also asked for his release. Remember, please like these videos. It tells us that you want more of this. Share it. Feel free to comment, etc. And again, visit offshoreinsiders.com for the best sports picks and for your most thoroughly vetted sports books. Remember, mybookie.ag, maximum bonus allowed, promo code Duffy, DUFFY.
The new year comes with new ways for pros to save at Lowe's. Like when you're ready to tackle your taxes, we'll help you save up to $100 off federal tax preparation when you file through TurboTax. All you have to do is sign up to become a Lowe's Pro Loyalty member by January 25th, and the savings is yours. This exclusive offer is for new Lowe's Pro Loyalty members only, so sign up at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Discount valid on select TurboTax services through October 15th. More terms apply. U.S. only.